In a world where laws can shape the future, one country has just passed a law so groundbreaking and unexpected, it's catching global attention. The Philippines, known for its rich history and vibrant culture, has now become the center of a legal revolution that has amazed the entire world. Foreign governments, international businesses, and experts in different fields are all talking about it. Why? Because this law could set a new global standard. It's a bold move that shows the Philippines is not afraid to take the lead into new uncharted waters. Many are calling this the Philippine miracle. But what exactly is this law? How did it come about? Let's take a closer look. This law establishes the Philippine Maritime and Archipelagic Authority, an unprecedented move to strengthen the country's control over its territorial waters and maritime zones. To understand the origins of this law, we must first examine the history of tensions between the Philippines and China. The tensions between China and the Philippines has been a long-standing issue, mainly focused on territorial disputes in the South China Sea, a region rich in resources and of great strategic importance. Several countries, including China, the Philippines, Vietnam, Malaysia, Brunei, and Taiwan, all claim parts of the sea. However, the Philippines and China have particularly clashed over a few key issues that have made the situation more complex. One of the main causes of the tension is the conflicting territorial claims in the South China Sea. China asserts almost full control over the sea through its nine-dash line, which extends far beyond its internationally recognized borders. This includes areas that the Philippines also claims, such as the Spratly Islands and the Scarborough Shoal. Over time, China has increasingly asserted its control over these areas, which has led to direct conflict with the Philippines. A significant moment in this dispute happened in 2012 when a standoff happened between Chinese and Philippine vessels near the Scarborough Shoal. The Philippines had tried to arrest Chinese fishermen accused of illegal fishing, but the situation escalated. As a result, China effectively took control of the shoal, despite the Philippines' claim to sovereignty over the area. This standoff deepened the tension between the two countries and prompted the Philippines to take legal action in an attempt to resolve the issue. In 2016, the Philippines won a major legal victory at the Permanent Court of Arbitration in The Hague. The court ruled in favor of the Philippines' claims in the South China Sea, stating that China's historical claims to the region were not legally valid. The court also found that China had violated the Philippines' right by blocking access to traditional fishing areas and building artificial islands. But China refused to accept the ruling and continued its activities in the disputed areas, which has further strained relations. Another point of contention has been China's militarization of the South China Sea. China has been constructing artificial islands in the Spratlys and turning them into military outposts with airstrips and other military infrastructure. The Philippines views these actions as violations of its territorial integrity and a threat to regional security. The ongoing dispute has also impacted Filipino fishermen, who depend on these contested waters for their livelihoods. There have been reports of Chinese Coast Guard vessels harassing Filipino fishermen and preventing them from accessing traditional fishing grounds. Under the Mutual Defense Treaty, or MDT, the U.S. has pledged to assist the Philippines in the event of an armed attack. Despite these tensions, it has conducted freedom of navigation operations in the South China Sea, challenging China's territorial claims and asserting the right to free international navigation. Despite these tensions, the Philippines has tried to balance its relationship with China and its efforts to defend its territory. The previous Philippine president, Duterte, initially sought to strengthen ties with China, hoping to benefit from economic opportunities such as investment and trade. However, this shift in policy faced criticism both from domestic groups and foreign allies, especially America. Following Duterte's presidency, the Philippine government has tried to return to a more traditional foreign policy stance, reaffirming its ties with America. The South China Sea is not only important for its rich resources, including oil and natural gas, but also it holds critical maritime trade routes. This makes the region economically and strategically significant. For the Philippines, which is a smaller nation in comparison to China, it faces a difficult balancing act between protecting its territorial rights and avoiding direct conflict with China. The Philippines recently passed a law because of increasing concerns about its sovereignty and the rising presence of foreign ships, especially from China, in its waters. Even though the 2016 ruling by the Permanent Court of Arbitration rejected China's broad claims in the South China Sea, China continues to assert control over much of the area, including parts of the Philippines' EEZ. The Philippines' new law is an effort to strengthen its control over its territorial waters, protect national security, safeguard marine resources, and prevent further violations of its maritime zones. It also clearly signals to both China and other countries that the Philippines is committed to defending its waters and will take actions to protect its sovereignty. As for China, it has also passed laws to support its claims in the South China Sea. One key law is the China Maritime Safety Administration's Law, or CMSA, passed in 2021, which lets China enforce stricter controls over foreign vessels in its waters, including the South China Sea. This law allows China to take action against foreign ships that enter its claimed waters without permission. This has raised concerns among countries in the region, including the Philippines, as it adds to the tensions and makes the situation in the South China Sea more complicated. The Philippines law, therefore, not only a response to China's growing power, but also a way to solidify its position in this ongoing conflict and protect its national interests. While China continues to pass laws to back its claims, the Philippines is working to manage its own maritime borders and maintain its sovereignty. The law is also a response to China's continued violations of Philippine sovereignty, and the ultimate goal is to boost national security, protect marine resources, and defend the country's maritime rights from outside threats. Although the law was enacted in the Philippine Senate, the Philippines still support the international maritime laws, like the 2016 decision by the Permanent Court of Arbitration in The Hague. This new law could involve tighter controls and monitoring of foreign vessels. The 2019 Executive Order Number 29. This law, which addresses the establishment of the Philippine Maritime and Archipelagic Authority, includes provisions for the regulation and enforcement of maritime laws, including prohibiting foreign vessels from operating in Philippine waters without authorization. This authority could act to arrest foreign vessels that unlawfully enter territorial waters. Aside from this law, the Philippines passed two more laws. The country passed the Philippine Maritime Zones Act, or RA 1065-4. This law defines the country's maritime zones and asserts Philippine sovereignty over its waters, including its EEZ. While the law does not explicitly prohibit vessels from entering Philippine waters, it empowers the government to regulate the entry of foreign vessels. In the context of maritime disputes, such as those in the South China Sea, this law is used to assert the Philippines' control over its maritime waters. Another law that the Philippines has passed is the 2020 Joint Administrative Order Number 01. This order, issued by the Philippine Coast Guard, Bureau of Fisheries and Aquatic Resources, and other agencies, enhances the enforcement of maritime laws within Philippine waters. The order allows Philippine authorities to stop and seize foreign vessels operating unlawfully within the Philippines EEZ. And in some cases, those vessels can be detained or arrested for violating Philippine laws regarding fishing, environmental protection, or unauthorized entry.